First story. My estranged father abandoned us and now wants help after losing everything. Family pressures me to take him in, but I refuse to forget the past. Growing up, my family was far from picture perfect. My mom was everything, both mom and dad, because my father decided we weren't worth his time. I was only 10 when he walked out on us, leaving my mom to pick up the pieces after his string of affairs. To add insult to injury, he moved in with one of the women he cheated with, cutting off all financial support. No child support, no birthday cards, not even a call to check in. He vanished from our lives as if we never mattered. Those years were brutal. My mom worked herself to the bone, juggling 2 jobs just to keep a roof over our heads. Some days we'd stare at an empty fridge and wonder where our next meal would come from. Watching her sacrifice everything for us while our father lived his new life without a second thought was a hard pill to swallow. Over time, I stopped waiting for him to show up or care. I built a life that didn't include him because he had made it clear we weren't part of his. Fast forward to now. Out of the blue, my older brother called with some news I didn't expect. Apparently, our father's karma caught up with him. His second wife left him, and he's now broke, sick, and struggling to make it on his own. My brother said, "Our father wants one of us to take him in." My brother, who has a family and responsibilities of his own, understandably said no. Then, he suggested I might consider helping since I don't have kids yet. I didn't hesitate. My answer was a firm no. I wasn't interested in playing caregiver for someone who hadn't cared enough to stick around when we needed him most. My decision didn't sit well with my father. He called me, yes, the first direct contact in years, and immediately launched into a guilt trip. He said I was being ungrateful and heartless, reminding me that he's still my father and deserves compassion. He even had the audacity to claim he regrets his mistakes and just wants a chance to reconnect. I let him speak, but when it was my turn, I didn't hold back. I told him he made his choices long ago and couldn't expect me to swoop in and fix the mess he made. He didn't just abandon us, he abandoned every responsibility that came with being a parent. Hearing that didn't go over well. He called me selfish and accused me of holding a grudge, as if the years of neglect could be wiped away with a single phone call. Then came the flying monkeys, family members who suddenly decided they had a say in the matter. Blood is blood, they told me, as if genetics automatically erase years of hurt. They said it was my duty to help him, to let go of the past and show him kindness. But where was his kindness when my mom was struggling to pay bills or when we went to bed hungry? Where was his compassion when I cried myself to sleep, wondering why I wasn't good enough for him to stick around? Forgiveness might be a virtue, but so is accountability. I can't pretend the past didn't happen, and I certainly can't ignore the damage it caused. My mom gave us everything she had, while he gave us nothing but scars. I've built a life without him, and I don't see why I should disrupt it for someone who didn't care if I was okay for most of my life. So now I'm left with the backlash. Some people think I'm cold and cruel for turning him away. Others understand my stance, knowing forgiveness doesn't mean subjecting yourself to more pain. Part of me wonders if I'm being too harsh, but the larger part of me knows I owe him nothing. Not after what he put us through. Am I the bad one here for refusing to take in a man who abandoned me when I needed him the most? I don't think so, but the judgment from others makes me second-guess myself sometimes. Still, I can't shake the belief that some bridges are meant to stay burned. Second story. My sister neglects her son while favoring his bully brother, so I called her out in front of our family. My sister Hannah and I have a distant relationship. We see each other around Christmas, and aside from the occasional exchange in the family group chat, that's about it. Hannah has 2 boys, Liam, who's 15, and Noah, who's 13. Noah has always been the quieter one, and I assumed he simply preferred keeping to himself. But as time went on, I began to realize it wasn't about preference, he was being neglected. Up until last Christmas, I thought both boys had the same father. That's when I learned the truth. Liam's dad left Hannah after she cheated on him, and Noah was the result of that affair. This revelation cast a new light on so many things, especially Hannah's behavior. In our family group chat, she's constantly asking for help or support, but it's always about Liam. If Liam had a sports game, a fundraiser, or a school event, Hannah would rally the family to show up, donate, or pitch in to help. On the rare occasions she mentioned Noah, it was never with the same enthusiasm or urgency. What really floored me was finding out that Liam had been suspended multiple times for bullying Noah and his friends. Hannah didn't tell us this. I learned it later through other family members. Instead of addressing Liam's behavior, she had them attend separate schools, which felt more like sweeping the problem under the rug than actually solving it. Things came to a head recently. Hannah asked if anyone could take Noah to his school choir concert because she had parent-teacher conferences for Liam. I found it odd that she didn't seem interested in attending Noah's performance, but I decided to help. I offered to take him, stay for the concert if he wanted me to, and bring him home. That night, I saw a different side of Noah. He had a solo, and for the first time, I saw him truly light up. His choir director even pulled me aside afterward to praise Noah, mentioning how he always helped other students and encouraging me to come to more concerts. A few weeks later, Noah fell ill while Hannah was busy taking Liam to driver's ed. When Noah called her for help, she turned to the family group chat to find someone else to handle it. I stepped up, but Hannah didn't come home early to check on him. Shortly after that, Noah broke his hand. Once again, Hannah seemed more preoccupied with Liam than with her injured son. Then there was the symphony. I had bought tickets and planned to take Noah because I knew he loved music, but I came down with a cold and couldn't go. I transferred the tickets to Hannah and begged her to take him. She said she would. The next day I texted Noah to ask how he liked the performance. No response. Concerned, I called Hannah, and her response infuriated me. She hadn't taken him. She didn't even find someone else to go with him. She claimed she'd been busy and forgot. Yet that same day she'd had no problem asking the family chat to chip in for Liam's upcoming school trip to DC. I couldn't hold back anymore. In the family group chat, I told Hannah exactly what I thought. I accused her of being a neglectful mother and called out her blatant favoritism. I said I wasn't sure if she'd inherited this trait from our parents, or if she was subconsciously punishing Noah for being the child of her affair. I told her it was time to step up and be a better mother to both her sons. What followed was a storm of messages. Some family members agreed with me, but others called me out for airing dirty laundry in a public forum. Hannah, of course, was livid and labeled me the villain of the family. Now, I'm left questioning whether I went too far. Was I wrong for calling her out like that? Or was it something she desperately needed to hear? Third story. My girlfriend shut me out of plans and left me feeling betrayed. Then I found a shocking secret on her phone that changed everything. Let me take you back a few months. My girlfriend and I had been together for almost 4 years, and honestly, it's been the best relationship of my life. We've had our moments, sure, but who doesn't? The thing is, I truly believed we were solid. We'd talked about marriage, and I was more than ready to take that step when the time came. We even bought a house together, and I couldn't imagine being more excited about our future. It felt like the kind of love everyone hopes for. And I was happy. There were times when she'd go out to the club with her friends, and I didn't mind one bit. I don't love the club scene myself. I'm not big on drinking and prefer a quieter environment. I liked that she had her own thing going on with her friends, and I trusted her completely. She'd go out, have fun, and I'd stay home. It worked for us, and I had no reason to believe there was anything off about it. She always reassured me that she was fine, and I believed her. Lately, however, things had shifted a bit. Her sister had been going through a rough patch with her boyfriend, and although they hadn't been particularly close, my girlfriend had stepped up to help. She'd been spending a lot more time with her, especially recently, when her sister and a few cousins, both men, came into town. They all decided to go out together to the club, and once again, I had no problem with it. I figured she was just hanging out with family, letting loose a little. But a couple of days later, she told me that her cousin would be flying back into town for the weekend. He'd asked if he could stay at our house, and I said, sure, no problem. Then she casually mentioned that the same group would be going out again that weekend. At this point, I thought it'd be a good chance to join her. I had been thinking about how much fun it would be for us to go out together since I don't usually do it, so I suggested we make plans to go out next weekend. To my surprise, she turned me down flat. "I don't want you to come," she said. That's when everything started to feel off. I stood there stunned, completely caught off guard. I tried to keep my cool, but the words caught in my throat. I didn't know how to respond, so I just said I was going to bed. But before I could even get comfortable, she came up to talk to me. She explained that her sister was having a rough time with her boyfriend, and she didn't want us to be out there, dancing and showing off our relationship in front of her. At first, I understood. I mean, it made sense that she didn't want to rub it in her sister's face. But something about the whole situation just didn't sit right with me. I pretended to be fine with it, but deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that there was something more going on. I didn't like the way she'd suddenly shut me out of plans that we had discussed, and it was bothering me. That night, I found myself thinking about it more than I should have. The doubts kept creeping in, and I couldn't ignore the nagging feeling in my gut. And so, I did something I know I shouldn't have. I went through her phone. Looking back, I know it was a bad idea, but I needed answers. She deleted texts from her group chat with everyone, and curiosity got the better of me. I restored them, hoping to find something that would explain why she didn't want me around. At first, everything seemed fine, just typical conversations about plans. But then, I saw something that stopped me in my tracks. The chat turned to New Year's plans. Her sister asked, "What are we doing for New Year's?" And someone suggested renting an Airbnb and having a small party. That's when my girlfriend's response hit me like a punch to the gut. She said, "I would say we could do it at my house, but that can't happen." And then she added, "If you guys do something, I'm gonna go, but I just gotta make sure I leave him at home." It was all casual, like it didn't mean anything. But the more I read, the worse I felt. Then I saw that her cousin's friend had reacted with a laughing emoji, and it felt like a slap in the face. That text shattered me. It didn't stop there. I also noticed a new name on her Snapchat, the cousin's friend. They had a 7-day streak going. My heart sank. I know it's not exactly smoking gun evidence, but the timing, the secrecy, it was too much for me to ignore. I knew I had to confront her, but I didn't want her to know I'd gone through her phone. If I did, she'd probably just deny everything and hide it better in the future. So I decided to bring it up subtly. I told her I'd been thinking a lot about the club night and how she didn't want me to join, and I just wanted to understand if there was another reason behind it. I expected her to reassure me, but instead, she got defensive. "Are you calling me a liar?" she snapped. I tried to keep my cool, but I couldn't help pressing a little further. It just didn't add up, and I told her it felt like there might be more to the story. That's when she finally said it. "It seems like you're worried about my cousin's friend being there," she said. I hadn't even mentioned him yet. And that, right there, was the moment my suspicions skyrocketed. Why would she bring him up unless there was something there? I didn't know what to do anymore. Without clear proof, I was stuck. If I confronted her with what I found on her phone, I felt like she would just shut it down, call me paranoid, and then be extra careful next time. The whole situation is eating me alive. Tomorrow she's going out with them again, and I'm left here with all these unanswered questions. Do I keep my distance and let it go? Or do I confront her again, lay it all out, and risk everything?